All right, is the audio working now? How about now? I may have to kill this other camera. It may have me messed up. All right, give me just a second, guys. Oh, is it working now? Okay, I've been playing with this software, guys. All right. Well, I'm using the camera I use on my videos. I figured out it up and use it to do them, and I'm trying to figure out which one I'm looking at. I got two of them over here, guys. But I'm hoping that maybe it'll work a little bit better. All right, so I need to have the top one is where my audio is coming from, I guess. Oh, give me just a second. Let me try something here. I'm gonna try not to mess this up too bad. Is this camera lagging? It looks like it's lagging on my screen. Is the audio matching up with my lips moving? Yeah, let me ditch this one camera, guys. Give me just a second. Because this computer, I think my computer is having trouble with this extra camera. So let me take this extra camera off and swap everything over. Give me just a second. I'll be right back. All right. Tell me that's working. Tell me I didn't just mess it up. I hope I didn't. Let me unplug this other camera. I think it's causing me a problem trying to run two cameras. All right. Is it working? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. All right, back with the GoPro. I tried putting the old ZV-1 up there, guys, and I think the camera works. I think the problem is that my computer, because I'm using a computer that I bought for some college courses a few years ago, and I don't think it's up to snuff. I think if I'd have been using the one that I use to run my machines, I'd have probably been okay. So we're just going to pack this guy up and set it to the side. If something happens with the GoPro, I'll switch over to the webcam on the computer. I like a little bit better clarity, and I like the colors that you get from a little better camera. So let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Let me scroll these darn comments here. Well, no, it's not going to let me scroll them. But how's it going there, Steve? Over at Ventari's, did you get your camera working like you were trying to get it to do? My other camera in my main enclosure was spot on today. I did some, had a buddy come over that's trying to learn the craft and work with him a little while. And the camera on my D1 Pro was definitely on. So, and for those of y'all that hadn't seen it or whatever, I did make me another tumbler today. I had a lot of people asking about Surmark and how it works on stainless steel. So took the opportunity to make myself another tumbler. Hello, Trip. So has anybody got anything? Because y'all don't want to just sit here and hear me ramble for an hour. Questions, comments, concerns, whatever. Hello, David. How are you? So who all we got represented? I see a lot of familiar names. I can't always. Just jumped in. How do you like the Monport? The Monport. I like it for what I use it for. And this is what I tell people a lot of times. If you told me that every machine in my building was going to go away and I could only keep one, I probably wouldn't choose the Monport. It has its uses. I like it mostly for acrylic and things like that. Now, once I do some more modifications to it, I think I'll find that it does well on like tumblers and stuff like that as well. But I'm going to have to modify it to where I can have room to put a rotary in there and do tumblers and whatnot before I'll be able to test that. And I just hadn't got around to that yet. Burleston, Texas, Dina Willis, Melbourne, Australia. Okay, you're probably going to be the furthest off today, guys. I think Sweden was in here last week, but I think Australia. I don't think there's any way to possibly be further from where I am than Australia, unless you're like in space. Recently found, researching laser just purchased my first laser prototype here. Gweek Cloud, never heard of that one, but they're. I have learned that most of these lasers are made from the same parts. They just put them around in a different sort of manner, and they put different stickers on them. Some of them are actually the same machines with different stickers, so you never know. Is it better than Brilliant Spray, and why? That I can't say, guys. I did a lot of research, and I went with Surmark just because the research that I did, I like the results of it, but I've seen the same thing with Brilliance. And to be honest with you, I think those may be kind of like a GMC and a Chevrolet. I think it's the same stuff, just in a different can. Because from what I've seen, the results seem to be the same with both, but I've just stuck with Surmark because I've had such good luck with it. How do you know if your motherboard is crapped out? Oof. Well, I'm guessing you're meaning in a computer. Been hard for me to get 16 by 16 boards. I bought 2 foot by 2 foot Luan and cut it down. Yeah, I buy an 8 by 4, guys, and I cut it from there. How do you know if you, Steve? Do you got any insight on that other than the fact that there should be some small lights on the control board on a lot of the machines that may go out? I mean, it's going to be to know if it's the motherboard, that would involve a lot of electrical testing and stuff that you're probably not going to have the equipment for or the knowledge of where power is supposed to be in that board unless you can get your hands on a schematic. So that's a tough one. It's pretty similar to the Glowforge. Yeah, I've heard of the Glowforge, and I've heard they like those things. So maybe, did you pay as much as the Glowforge costs? Because those things are high. I can't afford a Glowforge, guys. Use a box cutter. D1 Pro only has 1 or 2 blue lights on. I'll have to look at mine and see. Hello, sitting here by Cog Hill. Well, hello there, Mr. B. Abernathy. Yeah, Jason over at Cog Hill. They're kind of members of our community here. Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking. Ventari was, if it's getting power, there's really not a whole lot more you're going to do. Works great and half the price. I'll have to put that on my list of things to do. Is get some Brilliance and do like a head-to-head between Surmark and Brilliance, because I've heard a lot of people say good things about it. But like I said, I found it and won't come on, and computer can't find the laser. Blue light, but a start button won't come on. Yeah. Make sure you got the right power supply plugged in, because if you're like me, you got a lot of those things laying around. But yeah, I would probably, if you have a volt ohm meter, test the output on the power supply. And after firmware updated, oof. Was it working like it's supposed to before the firmware update? And did you remember to flip the little switch back over after you updated the firmware? Will I be getting a fiber laser? I really want a fiber laser. Monetarily, it is not the time for a fiber laser right now. I do want one. And if anybody sends, wants to send one, okay, you did do that. I would say check the power supply on the power supply, make sure that the PC cable is plugged into the brick. My buddy called me panicking because a machine that I loaned him wouldn't work, and what it was he had slightly pulled the plug out of the brick on the power supply and it wouldn't work. Spoke earlier about my air filter. Oh, well, hello there, Villa Josh. Yeah, some of these names, guys, I'm going to mess that up. So no offense. I can't verbalize some of these names. I'd love if I were. Yeah. Me and Steve over Ventari are in the same boat. I would love to have one to play with, but I can't justify spending the money right now. And reason being, guys, is I've got so much work to do with the machines that I have. I don't have the manpower to be trying to seek out other areas to be doing work. I turned down a job for a bunch of hat patches the other day because I just don't have time, and actually sent them to somebody else. I've got a few of my buddies that are in the area that I'm working with and trying to help train to where they can take some of these jobs and maybe get them done in their off time, because some of them have more off time than I do. Jeff. Okay, Jeff. I'll try to remember that, Jeff. Well, hello there from the UK. Noel. That's a fitting name for the season there. But yeah, if you were the one asking about the air filter, I'll give you an example. There, Josh. This is me just sitting here. The air filter sitting over there about 6 feet from me. This is a controller that comes with the wind, and I'm going to turn it on, and there's the, I don't know if you can hear it, but that's how noisy it is. It does have variable speeds. That's medium, and that's high. So it's not terribly loud. If you were looking for a dust collection system or dust filtration system, I guess I should say. But I hope that answers your question there, Jeff. Did I freeze up, or did everybody just get quiet on me? Man froze up. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Clack, you get 2 trees to send you a TS2 to do a review on YouTube. Very little videos about them in English. Now, if they volunteered to send me a laser, I'm not gonna. Let me put it this way. Yeah, it's quiet. It's quieter than my Enclosure is when I'm running my laser. So, but yeah, 2 trees. I've seen a couple of guys that's got YouTube channels that's done some reviews on them and they like them. But anything with a 20-watt diode on it, I'm definitely in the mood to try that out. I do have, and I'll tell you guys about this. And I think Steve, I don't know if Steve may or may not have one coming yet, but I will be getting the ComGrow 20-watt finally to put on my Z1. And they sent me the spec sheets so I could look at it, and it fits the ComGrow Z1. It fits the X Tool, and there was a couple of others. I think maybe the Auteur and a couple of others that it will fit. So I'm anxiously awaiting the 20-watt ComGrow head, because not only can I put it on the ComGrow, but it says it's compatible with some of the other machines as well. Yeah, Josh, if you look right there, Steve said he's got the same one for his shop, and it does a good job. Hello there, Randall. Tell Jason and Brooke I said hello. I think they like the engrave I did for them. I'm going to mention that to everybody here in just a second. Did the firmware quit in the middle again, did another update. Anytime something like fails during the firmware update, that's scary stuff. I'm curious if there's a way to do a factory restore on the thing. That would probably be the best bet. I think there's also a lot of the machines you can copy the firmware to the SD card and put it in the machine and it'll execute. I'm not sure if Xtool has theirs to where it will read the firmware from the SD card doing it that way. You might want to look into that, because if it will, then that might be the better way of doing it. I had another machine that came in, and I don't remember what brand it was, but it didn't want to take the firmware update through the app. So I was able to take the firmware, download it from their website, put it on the SD card, put it in, boot the machine, and just let it sit for a few minutes, and it installed the software itself. Lock in place, power move freely. When I power up, the rails lock in place. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Before I forget, guys, my friends over at Cog Hill, I don't know if y'all are familiar with them. They do, it's kind of a family farm type operation they got going on over there. They are a pretty substantial channel on YouTube. I think they're over somewhere around close to 200,000 maybe. Well, anyway, we are in a group in town here where we support local businesses, and we kind of try to help each other with, like I'm kind of the nerd of the bunch, I guess you could say, as far as networking, internet stuff. And so we kind of contribute to each other. Well, I made a plaque out of a piece of mahogany that I had, and I put a picture of it on my Facebook page. If you want to pull that up, I would show you the one on my phone, but that would be really bad resolution. And took that over to Jason the other day and talked to him for a little while. And apparently they liked it. I don't know if he showed it in his live. They should be live about now, I think. I don't know if he showed it to everybody or not, but I know a lot of folks have told me that they heard about it from him and came over to check things out. So, yeah, Steve, if you're more familiar with that, please help him out. But I'm pretty sure that is a possibility. But yeah, if you could force the firmware onto that SD card, that might get you past the issue. Like I said, I haven't had that problem with a D1, so I haven't had to try that. But Steve said he thinks that there is a way of doing that. Yeah, now I will tell you this, guys, and this is something Steve can vouch for me over at Ventari. When dealing with these companies, if you send them an email like in the middle of the day, it's technically middle of the night over there. So don't expect like a real fast turnaround on a response. Because I have a lot of correspondence with Xtool and ComGrow and a lot of these other companies that want to send me stuff, and I always get their emails at like 3 a.m. So just keep that in mind, that just because they don't reply back to your email immediately, it may not be that they're ignoring you or that they didn't get your message. It may just be that there's nobody at work at that time, because a lot of these companies are kind of small and they don't have 24-hour support. So a lot of the stuff is done by email, and with the time difference, it's a little tough, because trust me, I have problems sometimes, and I email them and it takes a while. Steve says it's 10 p.m. Central Time is the best time to catch up with him. He's got it down. He's got it down to a time. I just email them at night and then check my emails the next morning. It's effective. But yeah. Yeah, Trip, if you're like me, I can't stand it when something's broke, especially if it's something I spend a lot of money on. And I know they do not give the Xtool D1s away. And I think you said it was a Pro. They definitely don't give the Pros away. But I will research into that and see. I need to find out if there is a way to force that firmware update. That'd be a good video, Steve. Whichever one of us can figure that out. Because like Trip here could go try it and see if it worked. There you go, Steve. I'll let you can do that one. I'm afraid I'll break my machine trying to make a video. Oh yeah, that's about $1,400 worth of machine sitting there useless right now. That would definitely mess with me a little there, Trip. Can't blame you on that. But I hope you get it worked out. And if I get in tonight and I go to doing some research, you can shoot me a message or whatever, shoot me an email, and if I find anything that might help you, I'll send it back to you. And the email, of course, is clack@theclackshack.com. And I'll see if I can put that on the screen for you, because trying to learn this new software. Let's see if this works. Oh, look at that, guys. Before you know it, I'm going to be a pro with this software. Uh-oh. Somebody's messaged me. I can't send links in the chat. Steve, I don't know why it's not letting you do that. Let me see if there's a setting in here. Invite guests. No, that's wrong button. Give me just a minute, guys. I'm trying to figure out general. Give me just a second, Steve. I don't know if it's because I've got it linked using Ustream or what, but I thought I set you to where you could do that. Give me just a second. Mm-hmm. See if that helps, Steve. We're going to figure this out one of these days, Steve. I changed another setting, but it may have something to do with this chat in this program here. Ventari. And no, it won't. Yeah, it won't let me. It won't let me do anything in the software. It may be because of Facebook. It may be because of who join. I waited 2 weeks. Acorns, guys, acorns. I got an oak tree right over top of my top of my building. Yeah, I haven't had that problem, guys. Like I said, my original D1's hanging over there on the wall, and it is still running strong. So I hear a lot of these guys saying they had problems within a couple of weeks or whatever. I don't know if there was a bad batch or what, but I haven't had those issues. Brand new to lasers, got the Combro Z1. Love the channel. Is there anything on the included flash drive micro card? Believe it or not, I'm pretty sure the Combro Z1, I think the owner's manual, and there was some other stuff on that on the little micro SD card. And you can use it. I think it may have been the one that I used the card method to update the firmware. I think the Z1 is one of those machines that you can actually just download the firmware, stick it on the card, put it in the machine, and it'll update. But yeah, I think there were some like documentation and stuff on the SD card in that thing. Extra care covers. Yeah, X-Tool's been offering almost like an extended warranty or something with their machines for accidents and stuff, but I never got it. But yeah, like I said, my original D1 that I bought, the 10 watt that's sitting over here, it's done changed colors from all the smoke and everything from the engraves that I've done with it over the past year. But I bought it like whenever they first came out. I ordered them within a couple of weeks of them coming out, and had to wait. I don't know, it was like 4 weeks for delivery. But it's never let me down, guys. And it doesn't have the lens like a lot of them have, the lens that everybody's getting a hole in. My original D1 didn't come with a lens. So you can literally take a Q-tip and stick down inside that brass ring and go all the way. I mean, you can go in there like an inch deep before you hit anything. So, but I've never had any problems with it. So I'm not going to put a lens on it if it didn't come with one, especially after a year, because the machine has more than paid for itself. So wasn't impressed with documentation. No, the book that's in the box is terrible. That's pretty much most every Chinese machine that I've seen, the documentation is full of misuses of the English language, and the photos, a lot of times the photos in the books don't match the parts that you're looking at. So that's why I try to do a little bit of a how to put them together video, because I struggle with those things. Luckily, I got enough of a kind of a tinkerer's mind, I guess, that I can kind of look at those pieces and figure out how they go together most of the time. Sometimes I get backwards. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's I can't remember, but what I usually do is I'll go in on those SD cards and look at them and make sure. And if there's any documentation in there, I'll just cut that and paste it into a folder on my work drive that I save all my files on. And that way, if I ever do need to go back and look in the manual, you know, like having a firmware issue like Tim was having or whatever, or Trip was having, then I can go back and refer to that. But I usually stick the card in the machine once I do that. Got mine in September, issue October. Well, that would be bad. That was terrible. And see, I've actually considered buying another 10 watt, but I keep getting these things sent to me, guys, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I have a bit of a problem, because as long as they don't try to make me sign a contract, or as long as they don't, you know, try to tell me what to say about the machines, I'll take them. You know, I mean, and I don't know anybody that wouldn't really, because if I use it 2 or 3 times and the thing is garbage, then I'll just say it's garbage, and I'll, you know, sacrifice it for parts or whatever. But yeah, I've got 2 more 5 watt machines coming, which I didn't really want, but I have learned that sometimes you can swap these modules around, and I've got that 20 watt Z1 module coming. And so I was kind of like, well, as long as the chassis works, I could always upgrade the laser head, even if it's a 5. But I've got a Taser, maybe. I think they wanting to send me one of those, and then there was another brand. I can't remember the name, but I don't really count those eggs until they hatch. Once it shows up here, then I'll know I'm getting it. How is your lens held up on the D1 Pro? So far, my D1 Pro lens is fine. But now, guys, I run air assist all the time. I do clean my lens periodically on the Pro, but I run air assist all the time. Even if I'm engraving. Now, I may not run full air, but I'm going to run enough air to keep positive pressure in the cone so that it does not allow the fumes and stuff to go up inside the nozzle and sit on that lens. That is my approach. And I know there's some guys in some of these groups that are like, oh, you don't need to run air assist when you're engraving. It's going to do this. Don't run it wide open. Put just enough air to maintain positive pressure in that cone so that it keeps the gases and the tar and all that stuff that's heated up from rising up into where the laser is. That's all you got to do. You're not trying to, blow the piece out of the way. You just want enough air to keep positive pressure. And I've been doing that now for over a year, and I haven't had to replace a lens on anything. I haven't had a diode go out. My machines, my 10 watt will still drop cut 4.5 millimeter Luon in 3 passes at 6 millimeters a second. And my 20 watt will do a 1 pass drop on 4.5 millimeter Luon running 7 millimeters a second. So obviously I'm doing something right, guys. I mean, I know, like I said, there's some folks out there that trash talk the ComGrow air assist nozzle. They trash talk the X-Tool air assist nozzle. The only things that I can say I don't like about some of the nozzles is if it does not seal when it slides up on that, when it slides up on your laser. If there's an air gap around there, use that tape and try to get that thing snug, because what you want is when you're pushing air into that cone, you want enough positive air pressure inside there. Acorns. You want enough positive air pressure in there that no matter where the gases try to come in from, there's enough air pressure to disperse that and keep it off that lens, because you don't want that thing sitting on the lens. But yeah, I mean, guys, y'all can, people argue with me all the time, but I wish I could take my lens off of my 20 watt and show you right now. I just cleaned it the other day when I got back from an event, and it was a little dirty right around the edge, but I still have not cracked the lens on either machine. I've either my 10 watt or my 20 watt. Jason and Brooks sent me over. Awesome job you've done with their gifts. Well, thank you. I guess they showed the Christmas ornaments too, but yeah, Jason and Brooke are some cool folks, and I like their place. I really do. They got a nice little farm over there and plenty of land, and I don't have a pond. I've always wanted a pond. Jason's got a pond, so I'm a little envious of the pond over there. But they're good folks. But Mike says that's why he runs his air, and so does Ventari. So, hey, look. All right, Ventari, I got you set up now. You can, if y'all don't know, guys, before I forget, Steve over at Ventari's workshop. Since I've started my YouTube channel, me and Steve talk. We communicate back and forth. Sometimes Steve will offer me advice or tips to help me on something I'm working on. And one of these days, he's going to need my help on something, and I'm going to offer him tips and help. But if you haven't checked out Steve's channel and you haven't watched any of his videos, he is a much better presenter than I am, I guess, when it comes to the facts and the data. Okay, my redneck approach may not be as thorough as what you like. So you might want to go over there and check out some of his videos. He goes into a lot more details. He does a lot of research, and the guy's got a lot of knowledge. So I'm thankful to have him participate in my lives. But if you would go over there and show him some love, give him a subscribe. He's doing the same things that we do here. He does a lot of machines, trying them out, testing them out. Sometimes he'll get his hands on a machine that I haven't gotten my hands on, and vice versa. So it would be one more tool in your toolbox if you could go check out some of his videos. So there you are, Steve. Maybe you'll get a few subs and a little traffic out of it. Because believe it or not, guys, when I started my channel, when I first got into lasers, I watched a lot of Steve's videos because he is very thorough, and you can tell he thinks things through. And so that was one of the reasons that I decided that I would get into the laser at all, because prior to that I was doing woodworking and sawmilling, and I still do those things, but the lasers have kind of created a whole new world of their own. Halfway down the page is a firmware tool separate from the regular tool. Yeah, there you go, Trip. If you're still here, there's your link. So I guess that works now, Steve. Good. Because you're pretty quick at that. And I apologize too, guys. I'm working on a really small screen here, and I can't multitask because I don't have multiple monitors in here yet. And this little computer, I don't think can handle multiple monitors. But I have that on my list for Santa. So if anybody knows Santa, you can tell him that I've been a good boy this year and I need my new computer. Well, thank you there, Eric. And I'm pretty sure Steve feels the same way. Oh. Okay. Quick tip for you there, Jay Trich. Give me just a second, guys. I go to the drawer over here. All right. Who was it that said that? Jay Trich. All right. Here's the thing. Now, I haven't tried this much. I do run this little guy on the portable Clack Shack, and what this is this is a little valve that you can put in line of your. It's the same type fitting as it comes with X Tool. You just shove the tubing in there, and it locks in place. And you can actually take and turn this. This is a little valve. You can turn it up or you can turn it down. Now, I will say, I don't like that approach necessarily on an electric pump, but I have been using this on the portable Clack Shack, and so far I haven't damaged the pump. You can tell it puts it under a little bit of a little more strain, but that's my waiver. This might help you, but you know, there is that chance that it could put a little bit more pressure on your pump. I do prefer the ComGrow compressor that has a variable speed, as well as the latest one that I got, which is a I forgot who makes it. I got the box sitting around here somewhere. I don't know what I did with it, but it's got a knob on the front that you can turn it up and down. I like that better. So sorry for being off subject, but well, you're not hurting me any with the Alabama stuff, guys. They, I can honestly say I haven't watched a football game in about, well, other than high school football, because my daughter's in the band, but I haven't watched a football game in like 10 or 15 years. And the last one I watched was because my brother, Bull, y'all may know him if you've watched, he is a diehard Bama fan, but he didn't come over today. Apparently he had he had a long day at the watching the game yesterday. How many issues have doing that? There's how many issues you have doing that? But there's just all the time. Yes, any kind of material, because you got to look at this way, guys. The laser, when you're cutting this material, in essence, that the heat from that laser is vaporizing that wood. Plywood especially has glue in it, and glue is made up of a bunch of things that either you heat them up to make them sticky, and then when they cool, they hold the wood together, or you mix some two types of chemicals together and they harden up. 90% of the glues in these plywoods is like I mean, it's just they paint it on, they put the ply in a press and they press it together under heat and it bonds it. So when you heat that glue up, there's going to be a sticky residue coming off of that. Pine, if you do a lot of pine wood, pine has sap in it. Sap, when it gets hot, it vaporizes and turns into a really sticky mess. So yes, anytime you're cutting pretty much anything except, like I told them today, if you're etching or marking plain stainless steel with nothing on it, you probably don't have to worry about anything hurting your lens, because you're not getting, there's nothing coming back off of that. So anytime I cut anything, I run at least a little bit of airflow. What did I miss? Did Steve say something funny? It looks like I missed something. Yeah, I missed something. Only a couple of hours north of you, SEC rules our household. Yeah, Jay, to be honest with you, I would probably be a bigger football fan if I hadn't spent the past 25 years working 2 to 3 jobs. But before I got into the position that I'm in now, I always have had at least 2 jobs. I'd work 40 to 60 hours at one and anywhere from 15 to 30 at the other. And so that doesn't really lend its way to a whole lot of time to watch anything at all, ever. So I just didn't develop the habit, I guess. And when I was growing up, my dad was the same way. From the time I was 5 years old, I was in the shop, and he, working on a car, he's under the hood or underneath the car, and he would start calling out wrenches or calling out tools that he needed. And I was the gopher. So I had to learn every tool in the toolbox and what it was used for. And most of the time, if I knew what the job that we were doing, whether it be a brake job on a car or changing out an exhaust manifold or something like that, I had got it to where I knew, based on the type of car or model of car that was pulled into the shop, I knew exactly what tools he was going to need. And so I got pretty proficient that I just come back over there with a handful and just hand them to him as he requested them. So that was where I spent my Saturdays as a kid, was typically in a shop working. And so 45 years later, guys, 47 years later, I'm still doing it. I'd be a bigger football fan if I was not a Vikings fan. I'm guessing maybe they're not doing too good. Is that what you mean, Steve? Yes, Mark. You're asking about the enclosures. I actually did a video on both of them. My first enclosure is this guy here, is the first one that I built. And I actually built that out of wood that I milled. And the problem was everybody was asking me for specs and how to build it. And I built it out of wood that I specifically cut myself on my sawmill and cut it 3/8 of an inch thick. And so I decided the next one that I built, I was going to build out of commercially available materials so that I could actually show people how to build it. But one of the followers of the channel actually went and did a blueprint for me, which was awesome. The guy had way more talent than I have at building plans. And he put that on there and sent it to me. So give me just a second and I'll try to pull that link up where he sent that to me and share it with you there. I've got it hidden away on my website. Copy link address. I'm going to drop this in the chat if I can. This is a first, guys. See if it works. Oh, wait. How did that happen? But that is I think that link will take you to, I can't click on it. It won't let me click it in here. But that link should take you to the download file for enclosures. But David said the plans are great. He's working on his. So I'm guessing that worked. But yeah, that one of my followers actually contacted me by email and asked measurements. And so I measured it and he drew that up. So it was pretty neat. I kind of liked it. So I thought enough of it to share it. It's on my website I think it's under my Shop With Us tab, which my website, guys, is very minimal because as a full-time employee, I don't have a lot of time to maintain a website. So it's more or less a hub for all of my social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that. And I do sell, like my t-shirt sales and stuff like that's on there, which I don't sell a whole lot of those. And I don't make any money off of them. I just did it because people wanted them. So, but that's it. There's some hardware included that I use as far as the springs and stuff like that, the way it's set up. If you'll go to my channel and go to my videos and just search Enclosure, you should find, I think, 2 videos about the plywood enclosure and then 1 or 2 about the other one as well. But I will say this, I like the bottom flow of this machine as far as the vacuum, using the shop vac and downloading the smoke through the bottom. I like that better than I do my little side vent that I came up with over here, which I've got to get a bigger fan for this one. It's just, it doesn't have adequate airflow for what I'm used to because my vacuum table works really well. All right. Link works great. Thanks. Link work. All right. Well, like I said, I hope that helps you on the enclosure. And the glass that are in these, I did not use the laser safe when I built those, but I have since went to it for my portable. But I wear my glasses when I'm in the shop anyway, and it shouldn't be an issue. One day I may get around to changing the glass out in these two guys. But J-Tech Photonics is where I get the glass if you start before anybody asks. All right, it looks like either I froze up or that's that's all the comments and stuff so far. Trying to stay caught up. 48 minutes. Yeah, Trip, keep me posted, man. Good luck with that. That would be a heartbreaker. But I ordered my 20 watt out of necessity because my friend May had me cutting out like 300 and 400 of her ink bandits, and the 10 watt could not keep up. I think this was way better than the second one. Yeah, the first Enclosure, like I said, the only problem I have with my first Enclosure is for me to tell people to go out and get 3/8 inch pine. It's kind of hard. But let me move these cables out of the way. I had a bit of a cable fiasco earlier, but yeah, this one is very effective, and it works really well. The vacuum setup I like better. I've almost threatened. I'm gonna upgrade my fan first, but I've almost threatened to take this one over here and build a false bottom in it to tie into because the way I've got the ductwork in the side, it works. But I've threatened to go in and put a false floor in this one and caulk it and make it like this one over here. And that would only cost me about 3 inches of space. So I'm really, really considering it. If you use an Enclosure and have an inline fan vent out a window, do you still need air assist? Yes, air assist has nothing to do with ventilation as far as smoke extraction. Air assist helps. It helps, one, the big thing for me is it helps keep the inside of the lens clean because of the positive pressure. Two, it will actually cause, on some materials, it will cause you to be able to engrave deeper with a lower power setting because it enhances the ability for it to burn by the fact, in my opinion, that as the laser burns, it blows the soot and dust away from the surface next to it, because it's kind of like when you're cutting your grass and your clippings blow off to the side. The next, you want to go in away from the clippings so you have a smoother cut. Well, it's kind of the same thing with the laser. That laser, when it goes down through there and it makes that cut, it throws up little dust and little fragments of material out the sides of the cut. Well, if nothing moves that material, the very next line, when the laser moves over to make that next line, it's got to cut through that burnt material that's already burnt, which kind of acts as an insulator before it can actually reach the material beneath it. So by using air assist during an engrave, I have found that I actually get deeper, cleaner, darker burns because the little fine powder and debris and stuff gets swept away by the air assist. And on my vacuum table, the majority of it gets sucked down and blown outside. So that's my science and my way of looking at it. But if you ever engrave and you don't have air assist, look in there when you make that cut and even if you have to get your phone out and zoom way in and look, take a picture of that, and you'll see that really fine powder and dust that's on either side of that engrave. And whichever side that stuff falls, it's going to obstruct the light on the next pass. So a lot of the machines have a really strong fan that does a pretty good job of pushing that stuff out of the way, but it's still not as good as air assist, in my opinion. So the glass is not the right one. I ordered it for mine. So glasses. No, this stuff, this stuff works. Okay. I'm not blind. The stuff that's in here works. It's just a orange acrylic. Now I did buy some film and put over it just as a precaution too, but this stuff works. But as far as laser safe, you're going to need to go get some of the stuff that's been tested over at J-Tech Photonics, I think is the name of the company. But I've been using this for a while. I hadn't had any problems. So, well, I appreciate it there, Jay Trich. Yeah, the jig, the jig kit kept me from pulling my hair out, because when I first got into laser, and I was having a hard time staying centered, and it was terrible. Every time, I was wasting about as many coasters as I was successfully burning, and so I wound up creating that jig system for myself. And then I did a video, and somebody asked me about it, and it's like, oh, I really wish I could, you could give me the file where I could make that for myself. And so that's when I actually started selling it, and sold a bunch of them since then. So apparently it works. Apparently people like it. It works for me. I get a few complaints from people, but most of the complaints that I get is because their machine's not properly set up, and when they cut that file out, something isn't right. 3/4 oak. Well, one thing about it, Dennis, if you use 3/4 oak to build a laser enclosure, they may steal the laser, but it's going to take at least 2 people to tote that enclosure out of the house, because I've got some stove covers I made out of oak, and those things are heavy. My kitchen table, I made it out of oak, and it weighs probably 600 pounds. Appreciate you, Steve. But yep, that's the 24 by 12 panel, which is very well sized for my enclosure design. You just have to make the opening a little bit bigger than what this one is, but that's what I'm going to end up. If I ever build another enclosure, I'll probably put that in my next one, because I built these with the understanding that it was just going to be me in the shop working. But I have actually had a lot of people coming in when the lasers are running. And so for liability purposes, when I redo these, I'm probably going to put the tested glass in there instead. But I've got loaner glasses that I hand out, and I've got a sign on the door. So hopefully that suffices. Yeah, I mean, it's a little more expensive, but it's not that terrible. So how many tumblers can you do? A lot. This is only my 3rd can of Surmark. And the reason that it's my 3rd can is I did a couple of orders of like 20 to 25 plain stainless tumblers, and that was before I had perfected how much to spray. And for some reason I was spraying like half of the tumbler, and then the graphic was like this big, and the patch that I sprayed was this big. And so I've gotten a lot better now about visualizing the size of the graphic and using only the amount of spray that I need. I've probably done 10 or 12 with this can that I've got, and you can't even really tell anything's been pulled out of it yet. Jig kit so I can modify it for the 2 trees. I think it would speed up production. Yeah, oh, it definitely would speed up production. Go watch some of those videos, guys. I mean, it makes a lot of it makes a world of difference. Like I said, I've got a buddy of mine that I'm trying to train on lasers, and I showed him, how you have to align everything. And he's like, man, that's tough. I don't know how I'm ever going to get anything done doing this. And so then I gave him my jig kit and put it on there, and we got the machine set up, and I built him a file for it. And he's like, wow, how does anybody use a machine without it? So it definitely makes a big difference. It is not as big as it looks like it is in the GoPro. I'll put it to you that way, guys. This building is 20 foot wide and 24 foot long, and it is slap packed. I've got a 20-foot lean-to out the back. This originally, when I first moved here, my tractor parked here, my lawnmower parked there, and my boat stayed over there. This was dirt floor, nothing but tin and the poles. About 2 years ago, when everything slowed down back during the outbreak, some of my extra work dried up, and so I took and built me a lean-to off the back of the shack here, and put my tractor and all my equipment over there. I have since sold the boat because I never took time to go fishing. And I had a slab poured in here, and then bought the sawmill and finished the inside of this out into a shop, added the garage door and the front porch, and I have been happily ever after since. Yeah, well, Stephanie, perfect size, I guess, is kind of a matter of perspective. Me and Steve seem to be having that phrase a lot, but it's a matter of perspective. It's a good size. It's not too big. It's not too small. But I'm starting to get a little crowded, which a lot of that is because I have wood sitting everywhere. I need to build me a building just to keep my wood in and keep it dry without having to have it in here. I do have my kiln, which is where I dry wood, but currently my kiln is full of wood for somebody else. So I can't put my wood in there because it'll over dry what I've got. And here's what's going on in the kiln right now. I don't know if you can see that. It is 122.4 degrees in there, and was that 9.6% relative humidity. I've got several, like, I think they're about 20 to 22 inch pecan slabs in there drying for a guy that does woodworking down the road. That's also how I support my tool addiction, is I dry wood for other people after I built the kiln, and I just charge them a daily fee for the machine to run to help pay the power bill here. Air filter guy, Super Duty Jeff. Ford guy. Taking up the whole 2-car garage and still need more room. 12 by 16 shed. Yeah, that would definitely help. But if you're taking up a 2-car garage, I don't know that a 12 by 16 is going to work for you, is it? Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. I am wanting so bad. I saw a metal building the other day that is black and gray, and it had like board and batten on the front. It had a little porch on it. Had 2 big bay doors on it. This thing was probably 75 foot by 25 foot. And I told my wife that that's what I needed, and she didn't agree with me. So it don't look like I'll be getting it anytime soon. Just for wood storage. Oh, now, yeah, if you're just doing wood storage, a 12 by 16, yeah, that would be great. You could go in there and throw up some racks, throw up some shelves. You could even use it for like some tools, like those tools that you don't use very often. And that's what I've thought about too, is if I did have another place, some of these tools that I don't use that often, I could put there and get them out of the way here. So, yeah, I want to see the RV shop build, by the way. I mean, is this a functioning RV? Like, is this like a toy hauler, and you're going to have a workshop in the back of your toy hauler? Is that what you got going on there, Jeff? Cedar in New York. See, Ventari's got 2 shops and filled them both up. You might have a problem there, Steve. Yeah, you're going to have to keep me posted on that there, Super Duty Jeff. That's pretty cool, because, you know, I am planning on one of these days when I retire, buying me a camper and taking the Clack Shack on the road. And I've actually considered doing that, getting me either that or, you know, just keep pulling the trailer around everywhere I go. I don't know of anybody right now in New York that said what part. I'm guessing upstate New York. I'm guessing you're not in the city. But I'll tell you, probably a good place to go would be on Facebook and look in your area and see if go to Marketplace. And if you go to Facebook Marketplace and search for sawmilled lumber or rough sawn lumber on Marketplace, and limit it to however far you're willing to drive. And then if you find somebody that's selling some rough cut pine or rough cut whatever, then message them and just ask them if they can get you some cedar. And if they can, then that would be the easiest way, I think, to connect with those folks. I've tried getting some people in some of the groups I'm in to reach out. But if I were in New York and I were needing some cedar, that would be what I would do. Just go to Marketplace, search for rough cut lumber. And then those guys, if they're selling rough cut lumber, then chances are they've got a mill, and they can mill you some cedar. But now keep in mind, cedar brings a little bit more of a premium than pine does. Fully functioning 45-foot toy hauler. Yeah, Jeff, you better have a Super Duty if you're pulling a 45-foot toy hauler. Queens, New York. Yeah, you're right in town. So yeah, I would, Marketplace is probably going to be your best bet. Just be careful and don't get mugged or robbed up there. I don't know how Marketplace works in New York, but I'd be careful with that. But typically people who sell sawmilled lumber are not going to be bad people. There are exceptions. Yeah, that's another thing. Like Dennis is saying, some of the scrap pieces that we throw away or that we just don't want to use because it's too much trouble. I have people that come get that stuff and they just pick it up and take it with them. Some of it I will use, but a lot of it, I have so much of it that people are like, hey, do you have anything I can use to make a sign for my wife or whatever? And I just tell them, hey, come pick it up, come dig through the pile and get what you want. So, well, we're sitting on an hour, guys. So as much as I'd love to sit here and ramble, I don't need to stay on here that much longer. So unless anybody's got any last minute questions that showed up late, I think I'm going to have to call this for tonight. Back to the grind tomorrow. I got to go back to work and do my real job. So that's really depressing, but I do got to go. Just kept business going for the past few weeks now. Yeah, one of these days, guys, hopefully when I retire, this is my plan. I've got 3 years, hopefully, and I'll be able to retire. When I retire, I want to spend that last the year that I retire, I want to go ahead and start building me a bigger shop. But we'll see if that works out. A lot of moving parts between now and then. A lot of them. All right. Well, all right, guys. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming out. It's been fun. It's been real. One of these days, maybe I can figure out how to get Ventari, and we can like both get in here and talk. But he does a really good job of monitoring these comments and everything. But if you haven't already, guys, when we get done here, go check out Steve's page over at Ventari's Workshop. Check out some of his stuff. If you're into, I know he done a lot of stuff with model cars and RC stuff a long time ago. So that's something that he knows way more about than I do. So, but if you don't mind, go check him out. Give him a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, or just, whatever. Just mess with him if you want to. You can spam him. That'll be fine. But anyway, until next time, guys, y'all be safe and take care of yourselves. And I'll try to be here again next Sunday unless something changed. And we can chew the fat, talk about it, and maybe solve the world's problems. So y'all have a good day. And we'll catch y'all later.